I am so proud of you for being here with me today. This is the real-time version of the Turn Back Time Limberness series where we're demonstrating in the seated position. I can't wait to move with you. Excellent. We're on to the seated section of the Limberness series, and we're going to start off by extending and bending the knee. Now what this does is this stretches the back of the leg and it wakes up that whole front of the leg as well as getting the core activated. Notice that we're pulling the toes back towards us. So really pull those toes towards you. That's going to make it a little bit harder because you're really going to feel the stretch in the back. Let's do about 5 more. I'm sitting really upright, pulling the head through the ceiling, which engages the core even more. 3 more. If this is too fast for you, go a little bit slower. If you have to lower your knee, that's okay. Notice I'm sitting at the end of the chair. Switch legs, extend and bend, pulling the toes back towards you as you can. More and more as I go, I'm trying to keep the knee at about hip level. This activates the quad, the thigh. 4, good. Standing nice and upright. And last 2. Okay, I'm going to keep this leg extended and point and flex the foot. Lubricating, heating, softening the ankle and the calf. So even if you're sitting, you could be at work, you could even be in a wheelchair, and you could do this kind of work. I'm going to go ahead and rock my foot laterally. Now what if I just woke up out of bed and I'm sitting on the end of the bed? I could be doing this like that. Circles. And then change directions. I'm really feeling my thigh here. I imagine you may be too. And then bring it down. Extend, point and flex. When your thigh gets too tired, it's okay to stop and rest. Pulling long through the head to activate the core, stabilize the spine. Holding the toe towards you and going ahead and moving laterally through the ankle. Keeping that ankle able to do all these different motions. Circles, change directions, and then bring it down. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring the knee to the chest and pull in, stretching out the hip and the back, compressing the front of the hip, stretching the back of the hip, stretching the back, and then I'm going to lean back, extend, try and make this straight. Come in, round, hold, pull, lean back, extend, try and make this straight. Especially if you're having to sit in a chair, it is important to get this hip to straighten out because it's bent so often, it's really shortening those muscles, which plays sort of a tightening on the back. So we want to try and extend those front muscles of the hip so that the back gets some relief right there. Let's go about 3 more. This is actually a lot of core work to have to back up and stabilize your spine. So notice how I'm sitting forward on the chair so that I have some place to lean back to. Switch legs, pull in. If this pinches the front of your hip, don't pull in so far, or bring the knee off to the side a little bit. And then reach back, straightening the front of the hip. Pull in, I'm standing up nice and tall, pulling my shoulders down and back. And out and in. Breathing as you go. I can start to feel my breath rate increase because I'm using muscles. Muscles need oxygen. That's part of the whole point of this series is to deliver oxygen to the parts to keep them healthy and vital. We'll do 1 more. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to move on to the back butt. I'm going to cross my leg. And then notice that the foot is right underneath the knee. I'm going to push this knee down as I sort of pull up on the ankle, driving my shoulder down, slide the neck back, pull the head long. This is a great neck stretch. Feeling the stretch also in my hip. And then I'm going to pull across to the spine, feeling this in the back butt, also in the back of my body, not just the hip, but my lower back. Push down, decompressing the hip socket, pull up, compressing the hip socket and stretching the back of the hip as well as the back. and pushing down. When I push down here, I'm actually pulling up here. Shoulders down, slide the neck back, pull the head long, and pull. And we'll do one more. Push. This time I'm going to pull a little bit more towards the opposite shoulder to get a little bit more stretch here. I'm going to switch sides. Cross the ankle. Try and cross the ankle to the knee, not like this. Also, the foot shouldn't be over there. It should be right under the knee, so you're really square. I'm going to push away and then pull across. Each time you go, you can decide whether you want to make it more intense by going farther or less intense because your body's needing that for that day. Your body changes every day, so you can't just make assumptions on the day that you're doing a work. You have to decide based on what your body's saying that day. Is it giving you the yes to go forward and go more intense, or is it saying, no, I need to go a little bit easier? So part of establishing that relationship with your body is listening to what it's saying. Push away, opening up the hip, and then pull and stretching the back of the hip. Very good. We're going to switch sides. I'm going to place my foot again over the knee, square up my foot. I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to lean forward, feeling the back of this hip. And then come back up. I'm using my body weight, stabilizing on this chair and on my knee, and letting my body weight hang over so I can feel this hip. This is a great stretch. This is one of the greatest stretches for your back. We're going to go again. I'm holding it and coming out of it. One more time. Holding it, and I'm dropping even lower if I can. Coming out of it. I'm going to turn. I'm going to hold the chair and hold my ankle and go to this angle. And come back out. You might feel that your core is tightening because you're having to balance. And that's okay. Working the core here is a good thing. Is your chair squeaking like mine is? Okay, now I'm going to go to the other angle. I'm holding onto the chair and holding onto my foot and crossing to that angle. This feels really good on the lower back. Again, if you loosen up your hip, your front hip, your back hip, your side hip, it really does some wonderful things for releasing the stress on the lower back. So when I have a person that comes in and is suffering from lower back problems, I always go to the hips and relieve them. Okay, we'll switch sides, cross, hold on to the chair, come straight forward, hang down there for a moment. Notice, does this side feel the same? Does it feel tighter? Does it feel tighter in different places? It's pretty normal for your parts to be asymmetrical or tight in different ways, or one much looser than the other. One of our goals would be is to get symmetrical, because when we have one side that's tighter than the other, it tends to tilt or twist the body, and that can create some different wear and tear patterns. I'm turning to the angle, and I'm turning over to that angle, noticing that the belly is tightening to support me so I don't fall over. Good, I'm going as low as I can. Always you want to be safe, so if you have to back up in your chair to get a better grip on the chair to feel more stable, make that choice. Safety is always a priority, obviously. And then we're going to switch to the last angle. I'm going to turn the other way and come across here. And then back up. This speed that I'm using is sort of slow because it's feeling so good to stretch out that back hip that's really working up into my lower back. And one more time, we'll go two more actually. And letting my body weight sort of sag and sink and melt. I'm using the body weight as an aid to the stretch. Just letting everything go. You can even let the head go. And then come back up. Moving on to the spine in 3 dimensions. Hands on the knees, feet are about hip distance, nice and stable. I'm at the end of the chair. I'm going to lean forward, stretching out the back, using my arms to move me. Lean back, I'm tucking my hips, drawing in my core. You can use as much arms as you want. When you come forward, you can use very little. That's more core work. Or if I use the power of my arms and really relax my back. It's more of a stretch. So what I would suggest is in the first few, use more arms as your back is getting heated and warmed up, and then perhaps shift to using less arms. Now I'm going to go laterally. Now options here, I can put my hands on my thighs. I can put my hands on the chair. Let my head come with me. This is even a bigger stretch. If I want to make it harder, I can put my hands up. This becomes more core work, a little bit less stretching because now my muscles have to really engage. It's a little bit more stretching if I just even did this. This feels really good to stretch those lateral parts of your torso. And I get the support of the opposite hand. Now I'm going to turn. I'm going to grab my knee and the chair and turn. I'm using the leverage to turn me. Use your judgment on how far you want to go. If you're feeling any pinches, don't go that far. Let your body heat up and stretch a little bit before you go too far. And now we're going to, on this next one, I'm going to hold it and I'm going to look up and down. This feels really good on the neck. Switch sides. That's the spine series. On to shoulder shrugs. We've addressed the ankle, the knee, the hip, the spine. Now we're on to the shoulders. If you're working at a desk, this is wonderful. If you've just woken up, this is perfect to wake all this up from maybe being in a position that your shoulder is crunked up against your ear. We're starting off by just bringing the shoulders up, pulling the shoulders down, bringing the shoulders up, pulling the shoulders down. The range that you use and the speed that you decide on is totally up to your body. You should never feel unsafe. It should feel comfortable. This is about hydrating, oxygenating, nourishing, heating up the parts. Now I'm going to bring the shoulders forward and then squeeze the shoulder blades back. Bring the shoulders, imagine you can touch them forward and then squeeze them back. Bring them forward. Now we're opening up the whole track the shoulder blade moves in. I'm going to come forward now with the back of my hand and then come back and open. If I come forward, I'm tightening my belly, and as I come back, I pull my head long, squeeze my shoulder blades, and it tightens the belly all by itself. Come forward, opening up those shoulder blades, and come back, squeezing the shoulder blades. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift here. So the whole purpose of this series is to get the whole shoulder girdle, which is the collarbone and the shoulder blade, which moves as a team, to move in all different directions so that those little teammates can really move in a track freely and not get stuck to the rib cage, because they can actually get stuck to the rib cage. I'm going to come forward into more of a prayer pose. Come on back, elbows are narrow, as far back as I can go, and then come back as far back as I can go. Arms come up. I'm really moving those shoulder blades down my back. And when I come back with the elbows, my shoulder blades come off my rib cage. They lift off the rib cage. That's so healthy for those shoulder blades, because for so many people, unfortunately, the shoulder blades get stuck, literally glued to the rib cage. When the shoulder blade can't move freely on the rib cage, then the little rotator cuff muscles can tend to rip and get overstrained, so then they rip. And then back all the way up. Okay, hands are here, elbows are by the side. Open up as far as you can and close. Now we're really bringing those shoulder blades together, rotating the arm bones back. This one you see in many rotator cuff protocols to help heal the rotator cuff. But what we're doing is we're doing this for the shoulder blade. I'm doing it a little bit differently than that protocol. I'm pulling the shoulder blades together and then letting them freely come apart. Pulling them together and then letting them freely come apart. You might feel a little bit of musculature here working because those muscles have to work to turn the arm bone. Shoulder shrug series in 3 dimensions. Okay, we're moving on to a little bit more for the shoulder girdle, the whole upper body. Moving on to 3-dimensional arm raises. In a chair, sometimes the chair will get in the way, so you might have to scoot forward or scoot to the side. Do what you can. We're going to move arms in opposite directions. So my other arm is going a little bit out to the side to clear the chair. I'm trying to get back as far as I can. That really works the muscles of the shoulders and upper back to push the hands back. Seeing a lot of people unfortunately get weak in those muscles, and really it's because they're just not getting used. So if you don't use it, you lose it. It really is true. So we're really moving as far back as you can. Notice I'm standing tall. By just standing tall through the torso, it's so much core work. I could be in the middle of work taking a 2-minute break, a 60-second break. Don't let those shoulders get locked up. Get them moving by just moving, doing these arm swings. Good. The speed again is totally up to you. I could go faster, I could go slower. Now I'm going to move in the same dimension, but both arms together. As I come back, I'm lifting high, but I'm not lifting my shoulders. I'm keeping them down, bringing my hands back. Notice my hands are big, but open, and then come on back. I have to go a little wider to clear the chair. I'm still staying upright. I'm not going bent over. Bent over all the way up, tall through the spine. Core is activating. Open the hands, stretch back, and then back and up, squeezing those shoulder blades. I can feel my shoulder muscles, the deltoid muscles, getting work here. So this is a flexibility program. This is for limberness, but this also works those muscles. So it's a great foundation for the next part of the series that we're going to be teaching, which is going to be more core work, more balance work, and more strengthening work for the whole body. Now we're going to go in the next dimension. My hands are going to go down to my sides at about ear level. Do you notice my fingertips are open? My hands are open. I like to encourage people to stretch their hands open. With so much of the work we do at computers and the thumbing that we do on the phones, really want to keep those digits, the hands, the nerves of the hands active and stretched in appropriate ways. One hand's going to go up, one hand's going to go down. I'm stretching my head to the ceiling. That really feels good through the neck. Notice that my neck is stretched back. I'm not jutting forward with the head. My head is back. I'm pulling through the crown of my head. The crown of my head is right here. It's the back of the head. One more on each side. This feels so good through those shoulder blades. Now we're going to move on to the last plane, which is hugging, grabbing the shoulder blades, coming back and opening, squeezing those shoulder blades, switching the arm that grabs and up and open. I promise if you stop in the middle of your work and do this, your whole body is going to loosen up and thank you. That stress and tension that you're carrying there is going to seep away, and it's not going to become a habit to get stored up there. It's going to become a habit to want to get movement and encourage you to move. Okay, on up the body to the neck. We're going to start off by looking down to the belly button, looking up to the ceiling. I always like to coach people small range when they look up, especially at first, really being mindful, never going to a pinch point. There are so many tight necks, compressed necks, that looking up can be a little bit more compressive. So I really want you, to listen to your body. I'm going bigger in my range each time. Stopping in the center. Now we're tilting purely to the side and purely to the side. I use pain or any pinching as a boundary. I don't go that far. When I go to the side, I'm making sure that I'm pulling the opposite shoulder down, giving a little bit of a pause at the side. If you feel like you want more of a pause, please go ahead and do that. You don't have to keep this pace. And different days are going to feel different. Some days you're going to want to go with a longer pause. Some days you're going to want to have more motion. Shoulders are pulled down the whole time. Stopping in the center, turning as far as you can to the side, and as far as you can to the side. You can actually use the eyes to help you get farther. So try and track your eyes as far as you can. The eyes actually need exercise too. That's really healthy for your eyes and all those nerves through the eyes to go ahead and direct the body. It's amazing how the eyes direct the body and what it does. Now I'm going to go ahead and tilt to the side and go forward and then back and up. This one feels so good. Again, because I'm going back and up, I'm just being very cautious and mindful, lifting my chest, not compressing my spine, I'm trying to stand nice and tall. Each time I'm going a little bit further, keeping both shoulders down the whole time. Switch to the other side. This whole time I'm still staying really upright through my whole spine to get length and support through the core muscles. I'm staying really upright through the spine so that I have support, so my muscles don't, so my spine doesn't feel painful or pinchy. Last time is the biggest time. Back to the center. This one is important because we see a lot of forward heads from computer work and driving. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive the chin forward right at the neck level and then pull the chin back, retracting, almost like pushing on your chin. Drive the chin forward, pull the chin back. When I pull it back, I'm pulling long through the top of the head. Drive the chin forward, pull the chin back. This is called a neck glide. Really great. The whole time I'm doing this, I am pulling up through the head. It is important to decompress. You definitely don't want to be lazy and compress the neck when you do this. Okay, we're going to go on to the last neck part that is a little bit more intense because we're going to add the weight of the hand. I'm going to go ahead and tilt my head over to the side. I'm going to add the weight of the hand. I'm not pulling on the neck. I'm just adding purely the weight of the hand, which is enough pull on the neck. And I'm letting everything sink. If I want to, I can pull that shoulder down away from the ear. If I feel like I feel appropriate and safe, I can add a little bit of pull with the hand, but you really want to be mindful of that. Very important point here now. I let go of the head and I use the hand to help me back up. We're going to switch sides. I'm going to add the weight of the hand. When your neck is stretched to this level, I don't feel like it's safe to ask it to pick up the weight of the head to go back to the original position. So that's why I ask the hand to help. It feels really safe. Go ahead and tilt the head. I'm going to bring the chin forward. Take my hand to the back corner. I'm going to pull forward diagonally. This is a great stretch in the back quadrant of the neck. And then I'm going to use the hand to help me back up. Tilt to the other side. Drop the chin forward. Hand comes forward, pulling in a diagonal. If I want to add a little bit more weight with my hand, I can if I feel safe. Keeping the shoulder down. Use the hand to help you back up. Now here's my favorite, especially for slouching posture. Tilt to the side, chin up, hand goes to the front corner, pulling back diagonally. You definitely don't want to slump your spine here. You want to be long and tall. Drive this jaw up to the ceiling. Close your teeth. Drive that jaw up. Drive that ear up. Pick up the chin. You're going to feel this whole front of the neck stretching. This is great. I can even pull opposite on that flesh. I'm going to use my hand to help me back up. Very important on that one to use the hand. Go ahead and go laterally, chin up, close the teeth, jut the jaw up, reach the ear up, chin up, add the hand to the forward part of the forehead, pulling back diagonally, even pull in opposition. Big open hand on the flesh of your chest, pulling right here. Always using your judgment. Using the hand to come back up. And that's the next series with the hand added for extra weight. We're moving on to the final movement, which is called the posture stance in the seated position. Standing upright, sitting upright, palms are forward, shoulders are back and down, slide the neck back, pull the head long. I can feel my core tightening. This is a great thing to do anytime you want to take a break from work and sitting position, your neck's getting tired, your back's hurting, and then relax, breathing. You're never holding your breath here. Palms forward, shoulders down and back, slide the neck back, pull the head long, tucking the chin. I'm going to add now this hands up, shoulders down and back, slide the neck back, tuck your chin, pull your head long. My belly's really tightening all by itself just because we're pulling the head up and back. And that's the posture stance in a seated position. And you are awesome.